Pablo Picasso, a genius or the greatest revolutionary in the history of art. Imagine this. You're only 13 years old. You take the entrance exam for an art school. The drawings that normally take students an entire month to complete, you finish in just 1 week. The professors look at your work and they realize they're not looking at a child. They're looking at a phenomenon. Years later, that child won't simply paint pictures. He will shatter the rules of art. He will make millions of people ask, is this really art? And decades after his death, he will still be remembered as one of the most expensive and influential artists in history. Today, we're exploring the story of Pablo Picasso, one of the greatest figures of modern art. Poverty, love, war, scandals, and a genius who divided the history of art into two eras. This story has it all. The year is 1881. The place is Malaga, Spain. Europe stands on the edge of enormous change. The Industrial Revolution is transforming the world. The old order is beginning to crack. New ideas are emerging everywhere. And it is during this turbulent period that Pablo Ruiz Picasso is born. His father, José Ruiz, is a painter, an art teacher. His mother is Maria Picasso y López. Years later, Pablo will choose to use his mother's surname. And that is how the name, known around the world, is born. Art was always present in young Pablo's life. His father began teaching him from a very early age. According to one popular story, one of Picasso's first words was lápiz, the Spanish word for pencil. Whether that story is true or not remains uncertain. But one thing is undeniable. Picasso possessed extraordinary talent. Even as a child, his drawings amazed the adults around him. Young Picasso wasn't just talented, he was also an incredibly fast learner. At the age of 13, he took the entrance examination for the Barcelona School of Fine Arts. The assignments that were supposed to take months were completed in just a few days. He was accepted, and not just accepted. He excelled. According to some accounts, his father became so impressed by his son's abilities that he largely gave up painting himself. Picasso was no longer an ordinary student. His ambitions were much greater. Paris, the capital of art. In 1900, Picasso arrived in Paris for the first time, but the life he found was far from what he had imagined. Today, he is known for paintings worth millions of dollars. Back then, he was living in extreme poverty. He stayed in tiny rooms. Sometimes he struggled to find food. During winter, even keeping warm was a challenge. The loneliness and hardship of these years began to appear in his art. And thus began one of the most famous periods in art history, the Blue Period. Suddenly, Picasso's paintings were covered in shades of blue. But this wasn't only about color. There were blind men, beggars, the elderly, people pushed to the margins of society. These paintings contained no happiness, only loneliness, pain, and broken lives. The suicide of his close friend, Carlos Casagemas, also had a profound impact on him. Many art historians believe that this tragedy played a major role in the birth of the Blue Period. For the first time, Picasso was painting the darker side of the human soul. As the years passed, new people entered his life. His love life changed. His financial situation improved, and so did his art. The blues slowly gave way to warmer colors. The Rose Period had begun. Now his paintings were filled with circus performers, clowns, acrobats. The world seemed a little more hopeful, but Picasso had a far greater revolution in mind. In 1907, the course of art history changed forever. Picasso created a painting. Its name was Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. People didn't know what they were looking at. Faces appeared fractured. Perspective had been destroyed. The figures looked nothing like traditional ideals of beauty. Picasso had been inspired by African masks, and he deliberately dismantled the conventions of classical painting. Today, many art historians consider this work one of the starting points of modern art, because with this painting, a new era was born: Cubism. Together with Georges Braque, Picasso developed Cubism into a revolutionary artistic movement. Their goal wasn't to depict the world exactly as it appeared. Instead, they wanted to show multiple perspectives at the same time. A face could be viewed from the front and the side simultaneously. A guitar could be broken apart and reconstructed on the canvas. At first, people mocked these works. But over time, Cubism became one of the most influential movements of the 20th century. Its impact can still be seen today in modern design, architecture, and graphic art. Picasso was constantly in the spotlight, not only because of his art, but also because of his personal life. Throughout his life, he had numerous relationships. Many women became sources of inspiration for his work. Fernanda Olivier, Olga Koklova, Marie-Thérèse Walter, Dora Maar, Françoise Gillot, Jacqueline Roque. Each of these women left a mark on Picasso's art. But his relationships were often controversial. Many biographers describe him as a difficult and highly dominant personality. As a result, Picasso's legacy is still debated today, not only for his artistic achievements, but also for the way he treated the people around him. By the 1930s, Europe was entering another dark chapter. The Spanish Civil War had begun. Thousands of people were dying. And in 1937, the small Basque town of Guernica was bombed. The attack targeted civilians. The town was devastated. Picasso saw the reports in the newspapers, and he was furious. The work that would emerge from that anger would become not only the most important painting of his career, but perhaps one of the most important works in the history of art. Guernica, a massive painting nearly 8 meters wide, no color, only black, white, and grey, screaming people, wounded animals, broken bodies, destruction, pain, fear. Picasso wasn't painting war itself, he was painting what war does to humanity. Within a short time, Guernica became one of the world's most powerful anti-war symbols. During World War II, Nazi Germany occupied Paris. Picasso refused to leave the city. One day, German officers visited his home. A photograph of Guernica lay on the table. One of the officers pointed to it and asked, "Did you do this?" Picasso's response became legendary. "No, you did." Just one sentence, yet it captured the entire meaning of war. As he grew older, Picasso never stopped creating. He painted, he sculpted, he worked with ceramics, he produced prints. Art historians estimate that he created more than 50,000 works during his lifetime, a level of productivity that few artists could ever imagine. In 1973, Picasso died at the age of 91. But his influence never faded, because even today, people continue to debate him. Was he a genius, a revolutionary, or both? Perhaps that was Picasso's greatest achievement, the ability to keep people talking about him decades after his death. Now let's take a look at Pablo Picasso's most important works, The Old Guitarist. The year is 1903. Picasso is living in poverty. Before us stands an old man, exhausted, weary, almost collapsed under the weight of life. Yet he refuses to let go of his guitar. Most of the painting is covered in shades of blue, because this is one of the defining masterpieces of the Blue Period. Picasso isn't simply painting a man, he's painting poverty itself. Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. The year is 1907, one of the defining moments in the birth of modern art. 5 female figures, fragmented faces, expressions inspired by African masks. People were shocked when they first saw it. Today, it is considered one of the most important paintings in art history, because with this work, Picasso shattered every rule. Portrait of Ambroise Vollard, one of the greatest examples of Cubism. At first glance, it appears chaotic, but look closely, and a face begins to emerge. Picasso is attempting to show a person from multiple viewpoints at once. That is the essence of Cubism. 3 musicians. The year is 1921. Colourful, energetic, playful, yet remarkably complex. Many viewers struggle to identify the figures at first, because Picasso has broken the image into countless pieces. This work represents Cubism at its most mature stage. The Weeping Woman. The year is 1937. The woman before us is Dora Maar, but she is more than a portrait. She is the embodiment of grief. Her face is fragmented. Her tears become sharp geometric forms. Here, Picasso captures the psychological wounds left behind by war. Guernica, Picasso's masterpiece, perhaps the most powerful anti-war painting ever created. A town is bombed. People die. Animals suffer. And all of that chaos is transformed into a single image. Even today, those who stand before Guernica often leave with the same realization: there are no winners in war. The self-portraits. Perhaps Picasso's most fascinating works are not a single painting at all. They are the self-portraits he created throughout his life, because within them, we see more than a changing face. We see the evolution of a mind, a journey from a gifted art student to a living legend of modern art. And perhaps these works tell Picasso's story better than any others.